Well, Elizabeth Carruthers Park has a name that sounds like Old Portland. After all, Elizabeth Carruthers was a settler in the mid-19th century. This park is actually a relatively new park, and its transformation tells us a lot about the history of the South Waterfront.
For much of the 19th and 20th centuries, the South Waterfront, and really most of the Portland's waterfront, was industrial. Before railroads and freeways made it possible to locate factories and warehouses elsewhere, rivers were the main arteries for moving raw materials and goods. It was also where companies disposed of their waste. By the 1980s and 1990s, many of the companies operating warehouses and factories had gone out of business or had moved, leaving the South Waterfront vacant and in disrepair. Portland began making a concerted effort to transform the city's relationship with the river, turning it into the city's front yard. In my last video, I spoke about how an East Portland community in Park Rose fought hard to turn a former brownfield at Sen's Dairy into a park. The space that became Elizabeth Carruthers Park was also a brownfield, but the cast of characters and the purpose for this park was quite different. In this case, the Portland Development Commission, with the support of the EPA and the DEQ, used urban renewal money along with private funds from a variety of development interests in hopes of transforming the South Waterfront into a new kind of neighborhood. Elizabeth Carruthers Park was meant to become a magnet for the neighborhood, making it more attractive for people and businesses to move in. So many of Portland's most recent parks are former brownfields or industrial areas that have been transformed into community assets. To quote the Talking Heads song, "Nothing But Flowers," once there were parking lots, now it's a peaceful oasis. In this case, what had been a storage facility, overhead door manufacturer, and a machine shop is now a park with a range of trees, including Persian ironwood, honey locust, white ash, katsura, western red cedar, river birch, serviceberry, tupelo, and cypress. In other words, a peaceful oasis. It's also a place for protests and celebrations, a place to eat lunch, and a place to play in the splash pad. Like all parks, its history is also a history of a neighborhood and a city in transformation.
If you want to visit Elizabeth Carruthers Park, it's in the South Waterfront, really close to OHSU at South Moody and Southwest Curry.